F, we have Paraguay, Slovakia, New Zealand, and Italy. And Brett, we're going to start off with Paraguay here, and this could be a real tight group.
They're gonna be a top squad. They're gonna be a quality squad. How they're gonna do is questionable because it's an even group. It's a pretty tough group here.
The main thing I think that you got to focus on when you look at Paraguay is the striker position. Oscar Cardoza, who plays for Benfica, won the Silver Boot. He had 26 goals in the league this season. You do have Rocco Santa Cruz, and as long as he's healthy from Man City, you have Nelson Valdez, who is one of those fixture strikers. He comes off the bench a lot too for Dortmund, but plays in Germany. Some solid guys. My big question for them is midfield and their defense. There are a lot of guys that haven't got a lot of time, but have just moved into new teams. Alcaraz went from Club Brugge to Wigan. And then you got Barreto, who's only played 4 games for Atalanta in the Italian league. Jonathan Santana wasn't getting enough playing time at Wolfsburg. He got loaned to San Lorenzo in Argentina. So there's some questions certainly in the midfield for Paraguay and at defense as well. Their goalkeeper's pretty solid. Justo Villar is a good player. So it's really going to be a matter of Paraguay's going to give up some goals, but they need to score some.
My concern, you mentioned this earlier, as far as their midfield goes. My concern is they're bringing they're bringing up 6 midfielders in their 23-man roster.
Mm-hmm.
They're really banking on that nobody's going to get injured or, in this case, even tired.
I think the reason they brought 6 strikers is they like to play 3 up top a lot. I say they're still going to compete for that second spot, maybe even first. We're going to get into that. And really, that's going to depend on the next group. The next team we talk about as well is going to be one of their main competitors, and that's Slovakia. And when you look at Slovakia, goalie, obviously. And although you have Skirtle and Bakarek, who plays for Wolfsburg, and you have some decent defenders on that team, the goalkeeper position is really questionable.
Poland and only has 15 caps with the national team. He doesn't have all that much experience with the international team.
Right.
Overall, the experience with the team, knowing your players, being able to work with them, be able to control your box, those are a lot of important things. Knowing where your defenders are going to be and how they're going to play, these are huge things for a goalkeeper to understand. And the fact that, out of all 3 of their goalkeepers they're bringing up, they have a total of 20 caps.
Yikes.
It kind of makes you wonder.
A lot of their players are playing on teams. Marek Cech, for instance, plays for West Brom. That team just got promoted to the Premier League. You're looking at guys like Durica, who was loaned out to Hanover in Germany and played 9 games. Petrus plays for Cesena in Italy. That team is a second division team that just recently got promoted. Maybe this is all a good thing that they're all on teams that are just moving up to the top echelons of other leagues, but the plain fact of the matter is that a lot of these guys are used to playing Division II competition. Eric Jędrzejczyk played for Kaiserslautern in Bundesliga 2 last year. They just got promoted, and of course Schalke just went out and bought his contract, so he's going to be playing for Schalke next year. But the real issue for me is that that's a whole lot of players whose experience really lies in the second division. And of course, the big star of this team is Mark Hamšík, and he's going to have to really carry this team in a lot of ways. And if he does, this could be a team that they could compete with Italy and beat them.
When the USA played them, they seemed like a very straightforward, very physical team against Italy, who's going to be a very controlled team, aiming for the possession and the quick counterattack. You have Paraguay, who's going to be very fluid with their attack. They just seem like the brutes of the group, basically.
They do have some strikers to look out for. Holosko can score, or Holosko, whichever pronunciation you want to use. He plays for Besiktas in Turkey. He scored 23 goals in 63 games. And then Sestak's been playing for Bochum and has been absolutely fabulous, scoring 28 goals in 79 games for them over the last few seasons. You know, these are some good guys on top of Jędrzejczyk. So I think, you know, they have the scoring ability there at Slovakia. Then you start looking at Italy, and that's who we're moving on to, and there are some real concerns there.
Just they've been playing, in my opinion, rather poorly of recently.
That's for sure.
And we saw the game against Mexico. Mexico just took it to them. And I don't know if they weren't expecting the pace of Mexico, because Mexico is a quick team. They attack you quickly, they possess, and then they break your defense down. And if they can break your defense down, you're going to go down. Italy being a predominantly defensive team, usually,
yep,
it kind of shocked me how easily they were broken down.
I mean, look at some of these guys. Cannavaro, he's 2 years younger than me. I'm 38. All right, he's going to go play at Al Ahly next season. Not to say that Cannavaro's career is over, but his best years are well beyond him. Zimbrata has not been playing like the Zimbrata that we know. Cellini said he had a okay season with Juventus, but Juventus had a poor season. And there are a lot of guys that a lot of people have never heard of playing on the defensive end for Italy. Cursito, Maggio, Bocchetti, Bonucci. Who are these guys? Pirlo, who's injured now and might be back for maybe either later group stage or if they make it out of this group. Yeah, you're looking at some deep, very good players. I'm not saying they're not good players. Gattuso's a great player. De Rossi's a fantastic player. Camoranesi, he struggled all season. Montalivo, great player. Marchisio, great player. But in the end, this is not the sort of dominating Italian midfield we're used to seeing with the Tottis, and I think Totti prematurely retired from the national team.
You know, teams have passed. They've been predominantly the top four teams have had a huge influence with the squad.
Exactly.
And here, you know, you look at there's a couple Juventus, a couple Milan, a Roma or two, and it's just. It's not the team that you're used to seeing.
It's all over the place. Yeah.
It's not the team that where every player is, you know, champion league talent, you know, the quality. I still will place them at the top because they do have some really talented players overall.
Especially at striker.
Oh yeah.
I mean, striker, they're great.
If they can get the ball up to their strikers, and if they can turn, you know, some magic could happen. Obviously, there's no taking it away from them.
I mean, I mean, Di Natale and Iaquinta and Pizzini and Gilardino, those are still top-rate strikers, top-rate forwards. Question is, can you play good enough defense to stop the other team from scoring, and can you get them service? And without Pirlo, you know, you've really got one guy there that can kind of play a consistent role, delivery role, and that's De Rossi, and maybe Marchisio and Montalivo to some extent. You just have to be really concerned if you're an Italian fan going into the World Cup. You still have the best goalkeeper in the world, you know, Buffon.
Oh yeah.
So you've got that to rely on.
Anybody who says otherwise is wrong about that.
If you look at all the games that Italy has played since October of this year, they tied Ireland. They barely beat Cyprus 3-2. They tied the Netherlands. That's a good result, 0-0. They tied Cameroon. They lost to Mexico, and they tied Switzerland. So I'm just not looking at a real dominant team that's full of confidence right now. This will be really short. You know, God bless New Zealand and the Kiwis, but, you know, it's going to be a rough World Cup for them.
It's got to be arguably one of the weaker teams in the World Cup.
They lost to Mexico 2-0. They lost to Australia 2-1. They lost to Serbia 1-0. They lost to Slovenia 3-1 in their last game, not but a few days ago. I mean, this is not looking good. I think New Zealand will finish last. I'm going way on a limb here. I say Italy finishes third. Then I'm going with Paraguay, and then I'm picking Slovakia to finish first in the group.
I think it's going to go Italy, then Paraguay, and then Slovakia, and then New Zealand.
Hold us accountable. I don't mind. All right, we'll see you down the road for the next group.